Welcome, everybody, to the April 21st Town Council meeting. Before I begin, let me remind everybody to please turn on your mic. It helps when you speak, because otherwise it won't get picked up on the recording. Let the record read that the entire council is present at this time. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the ayes have it. At this time, is there any public comment on any item on the agenda? If so, please come forward. Is there? Yes, sir. Please state your name, address.
West
that I don't know
Donovan, 2335 Golf Club Drive, Dunkirk, here on behalf of the Rod and Reel. I hate using notes when I speak, so I'm just going to go off the cuff tonight. And I want to apologize if I come across as disrespectful or rude. I really don't mean to be, but as soon as I speak my piece, I need to go be with my family. It's the third year since I lost Addison, so luckily Julie and the kids are, they're very understanding and forgiving, and they're letting me come tonight to speak my piece. And after that, I'm going to go home and eat dinner with them. So, I don't want to come across like I'm disrespecting the town when I leave after my comments. So, I appreciate your understanding.
We
with
understand,
that.
sir.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think, kind of with that, I was really looking forward to sitting here for next 3 or 4 hours with you guys. But, it's definitely more important that I'm home with them. So I just have one thing to say, and that's it. It's been 3 years to get to tonight. And, I just want to be very, very clear on what I'm about to say. The proposed comprehensive plan is a 180-degree change of what is currently allowed and what has been a long-standing allowance of the zoning in the Maritime Commercial District. And it is a taking. With that, I want to thank everyone and have a good night.
Have a good night.
Hopefully you guys aren't here till, midnight or so.
We won't be.
We hope to.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Name and address, please.
Gary Luckett, property address is 8132 Bayside Road, also known as
Is that your residence?
Residence is 2020 Potts Point Road, Huntingtown.
Right. Thank you, sir.
I'm the owner of Traders Next Door. I haven't spoke much, at least not on my behalf. I think part of the comprehensive plan, I understand and I appreciate all the efforts you all put into it. Some of the concerns I have is I'm surrounded. I'm a little postage stamp right in the middle of town. And my concern is not letting something go past 34 feet. I would like the people across the street from me in the condos, they're 40-some foot tall. I'd like to be able to expand one day if finances ever, prevail. But I certainly think that there should be some kind of exclusion for commercial residents, especially right here on the roadside. Comprehensive plan has a lot of design all around me, future retail stores, building up of all the land. At some point, I'm going to be made to do something. And what concerns me is if I don't, I'm just a little sitting pit where everybody's elevated and building new all around me. And so if I'm going to have to break down and do something one day, I want to be able to do what I want to do with my property. I feel like I'm restricted on my property. I feel like I'm also restricted in my business, which is another whole subject. We went for an expansion for our business, part of our business in there. And on your behalf, I know you sent a letter that you're opposing that. Well, that was concerning as well. So I feel like my whole property is a big restriction. And I think there should be some kind of exclusion. If not, I'd like to propose some kind of amendment for commercial establishments like myself and or Abner's. Being able to go up in height. We are road front. I'm encapsulated. My building is built in 1958. It is sinking. We've sunk over 1 inch in the last 2 years in our kitchen. So we eventually have to do something. And if I'm going to do it, I'd like to do it right. I've been putting Band-Aids and skirts on that thing for years, and you know it. For 22 years, I've been doing that. So I just think something needs to be considered for a lot of these commercial properties along the road front. I need to be able to keep up with modern times and our neighborhood. The neighborhood's looking good, and I'm starting not to. So I think just something needs to be considered, and I'm requesting an amendment on commercial properties for height restriction.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Hearing none, then approval of the minutes of the March 17th public hearing.
Move to approve.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Approval of the minutes of the March 17th town council meeting.
Move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Approval of the minutes of the March 29th comprehensive plan public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Approval of the minutes of the April 5th special meeting.
So moved.
For a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Approval of the minutes of the April 5th closed session.
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Approval of the minutes of the April 12th informational work session.
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. And lastly, approval of the minutes of the April 12th closed session.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Okay, thank you, council. Next, I guess who you call, I don't know, what is it? Bittersweet news, I guess would be the best way to put it. After completing her 5-year term on the ethics board, Ingrid Lamb has decided to step down. So this creates a vacancy on that board. And I wanted to, I plan to nominate Farhad later in the meeting, but he wasn't able to make a meet and greet at the work session. So he's here this evening to, meet the council and ask and answer any questions that we may have. So please step up, sir. And I'll begin with Valerie and work our way there.
Yes, I read your resume. Very impressive. I have no questions, and I want to thank you for your time and for your volunteer service.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I echo that. I know Farhad, he's my neighbor, and excited that you're willing to get involved. So thank you.
Thank you. Echo the same sentiments. Thank you for stepping forward. What are you thinking?
I think Ingrid did not fully disclose that she was stepping down.
I got the fish on the hook, Larry. Don't blow it, man.
Right, exactly, right.
I got to get him in the boat, man.
Thank you, Farhad, for stepping forward.
Thank you, sir. I echo their comments. Mr. Morris.
Yeah, very impressive resume.
Thank you,
You
sir.
bring a lot of different strong experience there. I sort of had a question. We were very disappointed that Philip Keat stepped down from the ethics board there. And I'm really disappointed to hear that Ingrid is stepping down. Really been a core and really helped shape ethics and carry that ball forward quite a bit. I was wondering how you came to find out about an opening in the ethics commission.
Through Ingrid. Ingrid and I have known each other for not that long, but through business.
Okay.
And she mentioned that there is an opening, and she thought that I would be a good candidate, and suggested that I contact Mr. Mayor, and
I guess you chatted a little bit with her about what she's been doing over the last 3 years, and
We haven't had that conversation.
I was just wondering how you felt you would fit in and what you would bring to the Ethics Commission, because the Ethics Commission is certainly all of these boards we have are important. Ethics is one of the central ones, in my opinion.
Because of my background at Chevron and the federal government, I also do agree with you that, especially for a public entity, ethics is extremely important. I also teach at George Mason, and coincidentally, ethics in leadership is one of the topics that I teach.
Right. Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your volunteerism. No other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you stepping up, and I too have reviewed your resume. It is quite impressive, and look forward to having you join the team. So
Thank you very
thanks.
much.
And Peggy's on the call. Do you have any?
I am. Well, Fraud, welcome. I'm so happy that you've stepped up to join the Ethics Committee. I think it's fantastic to have more volunteers from the community, different volunteers. And I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Peggy.
Thank you. So on that, sir, thank you. We'll take this issue up later, but you're free to go home and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Well, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. Okay. We've got some new folks in the audience out here. Town Council to consider the appointment of Brittany Moran, CPA, to the position of treasurer. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second. Any council comment? If so, I'll begin with Peggy or.
No, I'm thrilled to bits. I'm very excited. And the feedback that we've had from her colleagues is so wonderful. And I'm thrilled she can start soon.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. We're really excited to have you join the team.
Yeah, I had some comments reserved for the lightning round for you, but I think in fear that you and your family might leave before then, I'll say those now. Welcome, Brittany. Big shoes to fill with Dale for sure, but I'm confident that I can speak for all of my colleagues up here that we all feel you'll fill out the role and bring new perspectives to the position of Town of Chesapeake Beach Treasurer. So congratulations. Yeah.
Welcome. And I just wanted, for the record, to clarify, anyone who might be looking at the council materials tonight on your resume, just to clarify that your CPA is indeed current. It shows here is April 2020. So I just wanted to get on the record that it is current.
Actually, today is the day that it expired, but it's already been renewed. Yes.
Well, congratulations on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a good slate of candidates, and so you are to be applauded for being the one that was chosen. We're really looking forward to working with you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Welcome. You interviewed really, really well, and really look forward to working with you. And budgets are one of my things that I just enjoy. I've been here for almost 18 years. And so if your budgets are not correct and your finances aren't correct, nothing else is. So I really look forward to working with you. And I think you're going to be really blessed with having Dell for a while so he can show you just how it's been done, because it's been quite successful. And so I look forward to working with you. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, council. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. We have a new employee.
Welcome.
Thank
And-
you.
and-
Thank you.
Now I have to swear her in. I, Brittany Moran, do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I, Brittany Moran, do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and that I will be faithful and bear true Constitution and laws thereof, and that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment, diligently and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of treasurer according to the Constitution and laws of this state. Thank you. Come on, kiddos. Brought my whole arm.
Yeah.
They are scared.
Hi, guys. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Have a safe ride home.
Thank you.
See you soon.
The big sigh of relief was Dale, I think.
Yes,
Now he really is going to retire.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
See you guys.
bye-bye.
Thanks.
That's right.
Okay, next, we have a proclamation for Arbor Day, and I've asked the chairwoman of the Green Team to read the proclamation, so if you will, madam.
Absolutely. Proclamation of the mayor and town council of Chesapeake Beach officially proclaiming April 29th as Arbor Day in the town of Chesapeake Beach. Whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, on this 21st day of April 2022, the mayor and town council of Chesapeake Beach do hereby proclaim April 29th as Arbor Day in the town of Chesapeake Beach, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day, support efforts to protect our trees and our woodlands, and to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations.
Thank you very well. Thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman. I appreciate that. So do we just sign that or anything, or is that?
Yes, we need to sign it. And do we need to vote on it?
No.
No, just straight. Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Okay. Thanks. You can hold on to that. We'll sign it later. If you like, pass it around. We'll just take care of that and give it to Sharon. Okay. Town administrators report. Before I ask the council if they have any questions of Holly, is there anything in particular that you'd like to highlight for the audience, Holly?
No, not at this time.
Okay, then starting with Peggy, do we have any questions of the town administrator's report?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. And Keith?
No questions. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening.
Mhm.
Yeah, Holly, I was just wondering, under item 3, federal dredge preparation, you have a note here that there were some concerns from MDE, I guess, that may postpone things a little bit. Could you elaborate a little bit?
Sure. So they are still on track. However, there is a holdup with MDE, and Wayne might be able to elaborate on this much further. Wayne, did you want to take this in terms of what's going on with MDE with this pushback on 90 days?
Sure, I'm happy to. They're waiting for their, so part of their permitting process is a permit they require from the Maryland Department of Environment. And that is what they're waiting for. Their water quality certificate is that permit. They're in the process, but it's just not out yet. They have Corps approval, and once the Corps approves it, of course, the Corps is doing the project, but even then, the Corps has to approve the project. After that, MDE then issues the water quality certificate. And this 90 days tells me they're ready to issue it, but that's the process it takes, time it takes to issue it.
And from what I understand from the Army Corps of Engineers, there's been some change in legislation with the MDE permitting on this particular type of project. And so that also has held up the process.
Changes in permitting to the better, kind of adapting, as we've been discussing, to the 21st century, or going the wrong way?
It's just a different process they have to go through. What used to happen was an Army Corps permit did not require an MDE permit, but now they do. So it's just another level of permit. So if an Army Corps project was going for construction and an Army Corps permit was all they were required to issue, MDE didn't take jurisdiction. Now MDE takes jurisdiction and issues a water quality certification.
Well, I hate to say it, but it kind of makes sense to have the state on board.
Yeah, agreed.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sort of had the same questions on that, but I would hope that we could continue to sort of nudge them to move that along. It would be good if we could get this dredging done before charter season starts at full tilt. So thank you.
Charlie?
To just call out on a question. So great news on the grants. I noted on here timing with a question. And I do see that we'll be coordinating May, so for that. But what's the timing once we move forward with the public input? I mean, are we talking about, this fall? Or are we talking about breaking ground? Like, can you give a sense of that, or do you not know?
I think the key for these projects is that they'll have to go out to bid. They're going to be large enough that they're going to need to go through a bidding process. And so once we get some public input and make sure that the design and engage Wayne as well to make sure these pocket parks are what we intend them to be, and then go through a bidding process. So yes, I would hope for late summer, early fall to get these projects underway.
I think that makes sense.
Thank you.
Howard?
Yeah, just a few questions. Number one, on Bayfront Park, there's a note about park signage is currently getting refreshed to clean up the appearance and communicate more clearly the rules. What exactly is being done for the signage?
Sure. So there's a lot of signage at Bayfront Park right now, a very large mix of signage. And so I'm working with Carla, and Public Works is engaged as well to make sure that we're being clear with our signage and it's not confusing. So really taking some of the rules and making them more consistent and on one piece of signage, more clear, a more clean appearance. So there's a wood sign there now that we're working to refinish, put some new paint on. So just freshen it up and get rid of some of the clutter.
And are we still closing access to the beach as you walk down towards like the south?
From the B Street side?
Mm-hmm. Where it was closed, so you.
I mean, a public safety issue with the
Yes.
cliffs falling, of course.
Yes.
It would be
So that's-
irresponsible not to.
And we intend to keep it close to the out of town residents out of town residents, except for Chesapeake residents, their guests, and first responders, right?
That's correct.
Okay. My next question is, I just noticed something on the permits activities. There's a lot more NAs than normal, like not applicable. Why would that be? And if they're not applicable, why is it on the report kinda? Like, what is NA?
So, right. So a lot of them are removal of trees that there's not necessarily a permit. So depending on where the location is, a permit's not required. So it's just tracking that someone did come to the town to let us know what they're doing. However, a permit was not needed.
Okay, that was the first time I just noticed that number of them, and so I was like wondering what was going on. All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
Okay, very good. We have the operations manager report. We read Carla's report. If we have any questions of Carla, I'll begin with Valerie.
Yeah, I've just mentioned to Carla and Holly about possibly putting on green team events that are currently on the Green Team page, but on this current events page also, just to have more publicity. So I look forward to that happening, and I'll work with you guys.
Just one quick thing. One thing that's not on here yet, and I know we're pretty far out, is the fireworks. Is there anything that we need to talk about now in terms of, I don't know, what in planning that event? That is going to happen, right?
Yes.
So I imagine it's going to be bigger than ever this year, given pent up demand. And I'm just want that to be on our radar.
Good thought.
Yes, the deputies are working on our traffic plan now, so we'll have that out. So I know Lieutenant Hollinger is working on that at the moment. So yes, we are planning for it,
All right.
July 3rd.
Thanks.
Just two comments. One on the Twin Beaches Health Fair. Just wanted to mention to the public, in addition to all the other people that are going to participate in this, the North Beach Volunteer Fire Department will be there. And adding future events, here's hoping Taste the Beaches can resume in September, we hope. Thank you.
Very well. I'm certainly with you on that. Greg?
I had a question. It might be a question for Holly, but I see that we have a new water park manager. Is that Martha Kennedy? Water park manager? Okay. Yeah, that's the first time I think that I've heard her name. I was just wondering, well, just to back up a second, I know that Marilyn retired. Was there any particular reason that she gave for stepping down?
Well, that's personal. I'm not going to give a former employee's personal reason for retiring.
Okay. Who is Martha Kennedy and how was she made aware of the open position?
Martha Kennedy is a current employee. She's been with the town for 2.5 years, I believe.
Don't know that. Okay.
And she has been working at the water park.
That was it. Thank you.
Okay. Keith
No additional questions.
and Peggy.
I just want to congratulate Martha and Carla on their certification as aquatic facility operators. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you, Peggy. Thank you, Carla. Public Works, we've read Jay's report. Okay, there he goes. Do we have any questions of Jay? I'll begin with you, Peggy.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
No questions.
Morris?
The town is transforming every day a little bit. I see under the ball fields, we have a Parks and Rec staff. Now, is that, who is the Parks and Rec staff? Is that you and your crew, Jay, and some other people?
Kind of a hybrid. I
We
think
know-
Carla-
Probably should ask the
Yeah.
town administrator should probably
Yes,
answer that.
I'll start with that, and Carl, if I miss anything. So these are current staff members. So in part of our water park realignment, we have encompassed Parks and Recreation as well. So our water park staff, existing staff, is helping with our field, also Bayfront Park, and just in the off-season period of time. So recreational staff is current town staff covering all of those areas.
It has a nice sound to it. That's just why it's like it's got a progressive sound.
You're exactly right. It's what you have in other towns.
Jay, will the Veterans Park Waterfall be in operation this summer? I think
Yes.
there's been some issue with it, and I know it hasn't been running. I was just wondering.
There's been some issues, and there's actually a current issue that we're going to resolve. But I'll be honest, a lot of it was the maintenance and what it takes during COVID. We just didn't find it the highest priority. But now that we're kind of back to normal, I plan to get it going.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. And Larry?
Jay, just a question for you under emergency calls. The statement here says we responded on site to 5 calls out of 11. What about the other 6?
I'll share with you one call because I took it. And this individual was rather mad that they could not find a house to rent in Chesapeake Beach. Decided to call the emergency phone at 11 o'clock at night to let someone know that. But a lot of calls, there are town citizens that are on county water, so they have a water issue. They're in the Highlands. They don't know. Some calls don't initiate a response. They can wait, talk to the person. I saw standing water when I came home from work. Is it running? We'll look at it in the morning. So there's a lot of calls that we don't have to come on site to.
Understood. Thank you.
Sure.
Charlie?
I have a question, and if you want to kick this to the contract, we can do that. But I noticed here that the bathrooms were ready for use, which is great. We had talked about adding that to the cleaning contract, and I did not see it on the cleaning contract. So I'm wondering what the status of that is.
That will be added as an additional service through the
Okay.
cleaning contract. Yes.
Did I miss it, or is that's not on the current document that we have to vote on tonight?
It was not a line item pricing. However, they're going to extend their pricing that they provided to us at the water park for the restrooms there as well.
Okay. All right, cool. I would love a Chesapeake Beach Parks and Rec, hat uniform. That we should have that. So, thank you.
We know you like the hat. You wear that uniform, we're going to put you to work, Charlie. Valerie.
Yeah, I just have one. On the Heritage, it says this project will close out soon. So when are we expecting close out? Because I know that when it does close out, there is, if I'm not mistaken, action by the town council that is required when we take ownership of the streets, if you will. And so when is this closeout expected? And is there more that we're going to be expected to vote upon than like ownership of the streets, if you will?
So we're in the very preliminary stages. As of now, we haven't taken over anything. So we're just now starting the walkthrough. They're not quite done, but they're moving along pretty good. And as far as the action that the council takes when we do accept the roads and the pump station, I'll be honest, I'm not clear how that works.
Fair enough. Yeah, eventually a document would come before us to vote upon. It has previously.
Yes.
And so when that time comes, I personally will just want reassurance that some of the issues that we've had in other developments when we've taken over the town streets will not be an issue here. And so I know that you've been working diligently to ensure that it meets, I'll say, town or approved business standards, building standards for those streets and whatever else we might need to take. So you can imagine I'll be asking about that because we've had problems previously. And also, if I'm not mistaken with the Heritage, there's no real green space, is there? No park, no.
There is what I would call green space, but no, I don't think there's like an actual playground or park, but there are common area green spaces within it.
Okay, when we talk about green spaces, I'm just thinking of some of the comments that have occurred in planning and zoning with the comp plan regarding green space and right-of-ways and all that. Again, you can imagine I'll be asking about that sort of thing just to ensure the town's best interest. And then you'll say, yes, everything's fine, and then we'll be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things I'll be interested in.
Definitely agree, and believe me, we're going to get what we're supposed to get.
Yeah, and I believe we will. And so then we'll have it documented and all that sort of good thing. All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Water reclamation treatment plant. We read John's report. If we have any questions, beginning with Valerie, we'll ask them.
I have no questions. I have complete faith in Larry.
Larry will be asking all my questions as well.
Okay, I'm on. As always, every month, congratulations on the no SSO spills or filter diversions. Thank you. And it's not a question, I just wanted to comment and congratulate several board members of the town that are now members of the Water and Waste Operators Association, which is an affiliated organization of a group that I was president of a long time ago, the Chesapeake Water Environment Federation, including Mr. Berry. So good job, guys. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Who are the other three? They are our guys.
Richardson, Chris Hall, and Albino, and
Congratulations to them as well. Mr. Morris.
John, I just wanted to extend my thanks for all you've done for the town. Having you in that position has been a rock, dependable. We're certainly going to miss you, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you.
I couldn't say it better, Greg. And Larry took all of my questions, so we're good.
Peggy? Any questions of John, Peggy?
That's the question.
Okay, before I move on to the code enforcement officer's report, you can stay there, John. It's kind of like, you hope this day's never going to happen, and you just hope it. And then, John obviously is a stellar employee. John, what John had done. I mean, John was a public hero during the pandemic. I mean, he just made sure that our toilets were flushing, and he did what he had to do, including sleeping there. We went through a period where we couldn't get, vaccines for our essential workers here, and I mean, we fought hard. So those guys said, okay, well then I guess we can't leave then, we got to sleep here, to make sure of that. So, John's a true hero, and I was really hoping I didn't have to do this because I may fill up a bit, but John's not going anywhere. This is what Pat tells Pat to help him sleep at night. John's not going anywhere. He's going to be with us for the next couple months, and he'll be around when we need him, and it certainly makes us all feel good. And I want to thank John because I know he's been wanting to retire for quite some time, and he saw through our administration, our first one. And I think we all are grateful to what John did for us to keep that going. He believed in us, and we believed in John. And here he is, and he put in another almost 2 years. He didn't have to. I thought you were going to go right after the election, but he had to put in 2 more years just to be sure that this new administration's on a good foot, and, so thank you, John. And there's, many more thanks to come. And, please tell me you're not going anywhere. You're just going to be a stone's throw away, right?
Just downtown Shadyside.
All right, Sam. All right.
Throw away.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
We
Thank you
appreciate
all.
it.
It's been a pleasure, and this council for the last 2 terms has been just great for the water and reclamation. Larry is a blessing because he knows what we have to go through, and it's been the best council to work with to get our stuff through, the budgets, the things we needed. And I tell you, it's a gem. I still think I gotta get that moment. But you should be proud of that plan because we're at ENR and it's going to be water reuse soon. So it should be a pride of the Chesapeake Beach. So.
And it is, and so are you and your staff. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And before you start crying, you need to sit down.
Yeah. I had that moment today.
A lot of tissues
Finally
have-
hit me, and I went, "Oh, am I retired?"
Code enforcement report. We've read Connie's report. Connie, fortunately for her, is on vacation. If we have any questions, I think Holly may be able to, answer them. So beginning with Valerie, we'll go.
Yeah, just a quick one. I noticed one issue was constructing an improvement within the town's right of way, open zoning permit required. And just know that, so someone is trying to construct something on town property, a town right of way, and we won't allow that to happen, will we? I mean, I'm confused.
No.
No. Okay. I mean, that's what I would expect the answer to be, kind of, when these issues come up, because especially in the older parts of town, we have alleys and such that are public property, and yet they can be seen visually as being part of a private property. And so I just want to confirm that we're maintaining that. So thank you.
Thank you. And Charlie.
Excuse me. I'm tempted to add some of that, but I'm gonna hold off for now. I do have a question about I don't know if it's appropriate in this forum, but I'd love to hear some level of details about the harassment that's mentioned here. I mean, civility, people. What is the deal? Is there anything that you can share with us on that?
Let me take that. We're not going to have an open discussion on that this evening. What I will say is that, one of the most difficult parts of the job that the code enforcement officer has is they have to go out, they have to enforce the code and the rules, and they have to be fair to people in the neighborhood. They have to do that, and it's not easy. And you're going to get, angry people. You're going to get, unfounded accusations, and it's just going to happen. It's part of the job, and we're very fortunate to have a code enforcement officer who understands that it's part of the job. So I'll just leave it at that.
Well, I wish Connie was here. I doubled down on my support for her, but I also know that she's got a good staff behind her, backing her up on these things. So, but boy, come on, folks, we can all be a little more civil. That's to the general public, not
Right. I understand.
obviously. Yeah. Thanks.
I do. Thank you.
A question under the closed cases. I'm just curious, there shows 2 cases here, both located in the 8200 block of C Street, that are noted as closed as per MDE, very first sheet. And I'm just curious, why does MDE have a say in this?
I know there was a peer issue, and I'm not sure if this is the one that it's referencing, but I can find out for you. I'm
I'm
pretty
just
certain it was a
curious.
peer.
Yeah, thank you. If you'd let me know, thanks. Let all us know.
No questions?
Still getting used to this being here in person kind of thing. I used to have your names down on a piece of paper. So I'm looking down there. TMI. Sorry, guys.
No questions.
Sir. And Peggy.
I just hope that Connie's having an excellent vacation and comes back very strong. Because what a pile of stuff she has.
Very well. Thank you, Peggy. Okay, we've read the town treasurer's report. If we have any questions of Dale, I'll begin with you, Peggy.
I have a question, which is actually not to the treasurer, but it's on the report. What was the chemical cleanup?
The chemical cleanup happened during the year where we had a unfortunate accident that ended up costing the town $65,000. So it was nice that we were only over 10,000 when it was all said and done.
What spilled?
Well, we're going back in the past now. You probably want to take that offline.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I can follow up with you, Peggy, on that.
Yeah. Any other questions, Peggy?
That's it. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you.
No questions.
Greg?
Yeah, I had a question about the insurance premium increase. Under the general fund budget, the 3rd bullet point, you said we were over the budget by about, I don't know, $6,600. And I presume that represents the rate increase pretty much.
Correct.
Under the water park fund budget, 2nd bullet point, talked about insurance being over budget by about 17,000 and some change, but that's not attributed to premium increases.
Correct. What happened is, if you noticed, in fiscal year 20, we had budgeted 38,000, and then in 21, we budgeted only 20,000. And we actually came in just under 38,000.
Mhm.
So it wasn't budgeted correctly.
Right. I was just interested why insurance at a place like the water park, the premium didn't go up, but yet our general insurance premiums did go up. I don't know. I guess it's a good thing. I guess it's just
We
probably
recently,
may not be an answer.
well, we
but
recently did an audit and reallocated. We made sure that all the schedule of items that we're paying insurance on are actually allocated properly. So that likely had something to do with that allocation as well. We adjusted how those charges were reflected more accurately. We made them more accurately appointed in the budget.
Okay, very good. And I want to underscore a budget surplus of about $658,000 and some change. I'm gonna miss you, Dale.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll see you up at the Legion, doing some line dancing.
Don't share my secrets.
And before I go to Larry, once again, I just want to say we're losing Dale as well. I mean, Dale is retiring as well. Maybe he can teach you a few tips. You guys can, get together and figure it all out, or, invite me. And my first tip will be don't run for mayor. But I guess Dale is right, down the street. So I feel like I'm going to see him around, and I don't feel like I have to go all the way to Shady Side to see Dale. So I'm not tearing up as much. But Dale also, during during the pandemic. I mean, we were really, while John was keeping our toilets flushing, we were really in a spot where we needed Dale to, give the council, a pandemic budget. What was our shortfall? What we're going to do? We're losing money here. How are we going to make it up? Dale had to take a big pack of pencils every night and just figure out how to make ends meet. And it was a lot. It was a whole lot of work. I mean, the pressure was on Dale. It's one of those jobs where we're going, hey, dude, you're the treasurer, man. You got to figure it out and tell us. And he did a remarkable job, because here we are now, and the council did a remarkable job in supporting Dale during the pandemic. And I think that meant a lot to him, knowing that. So Dale also isn't going anywhere. So I'm doing a good job with these volunteers and keeping the retired employees right here. So let's be nice to both these gentlemen, and personally, thank you, Dale. Yeah.
I just wanted to offer to both Dale and John, I am not the guy to come consult about retirement. So good luck.
Yeah.
And then second, just thank you for the detail here. It's very helpful to see this kind of breakdown. And as my colleague, Mr. Morris, has said, Brittany's got some big shoes to fill. So thank you.
Nothing further. Thanks.
Dal, on the report, I just want to make a comment, and that's this. It wasn't that many years ago that we did not have line item budgeting. And I believe this might be the third or fourth year where we actually get a reconciliation of overages to our line item budgeting. And I think it's helped us plan really well, and it's been a benefit. And you're the one that helped do this reconciliation idea. And I think you had to have lived through what Pat and I lived through with our previous budgets when they were not line items. And then the thought of never doing a reconciliation like this. And so this is a really good way of having financial transparency, and you're to be thanked. This is not a small thing. And so thank you. Thank you for ensuring that we always have complete transparency for our residents. And you've been an absolute blessing to work with. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to town engineer's report. If we have any questions of Wayne, I'll begin with Valerie.
I reviewed the report and I have no questions. Thank you.
Mr. Charlie?
I have nothing. Thank you. I'd ask about the sidewalks, but I noticed an expanded paragraph. It's good.
And Larry?
Just curious on Richfield Station, any update on restarting the guide?
We have heard nothing from them since the conversations that were noted here last July.
Okay. And the punch list for Heritage?
Jay's working with them now in the field to address some items, and once he's satisfied they're complete, or he's satisfied they think they're complete, he and I will walk the project and create another punch list for them.
Very good. Thank you.
Councilman Morris?
Is there any update? At the end of Streamwalk Way, I know there's some property down there that I believe Mr. Repke still owns. It's all subdivided, kind of ready to go, more or less. Has there been any movement or any discussion regarding building that portion of the community out?
I've heard nothing about that.
I had a question about the last sentence under Richfield Station. Messick and Associates, that's Wayne. Your as-built surveying portions of the sewers to determine slopes and possible inverted sections in preparation for work to restart to guide the repairs.
Right.
We're as-built surveying portions of, I guess, sewers that belong to us now, and it's just in preparation for continued build out. Can you explain that a little bit? I just wanted to make sure that I know we're not doing something for the developer there. What we're doing is for our own assertion and our own control.
That's correct. So we're aware there were some minor punch list items to be done out there. They're on the existing sections. In anticipation of their restart, we are confirming what we know to make sure we can guide their work. The work which is under, what we're talking about here is under the current public works agreements that we amended last year. So we're just preparing for their restart. Again, we have not heard from them, but we're getting ahead of them to make sure we know what needs to be done.
Isn't all the underground sewer in the ground already for that down there?
It is, and so that section S, the last section, when you come to that cul-de-sac towards the trail,
Okay.
the town hasn't accepted any of that yet, although town residents have been living there for 7 years. So when they came back to the table and said, we want to move forward with the next phases, myself and Paul Woodburn at the time said, well, we know there's issues in the existing phases, and before you can start up, part of the PWAs was contingent on satisfying a punch list that we have, fixing what's been there for 7 years before we start the next phase, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah, and I guess all of that was enumerated on the Public Works Agreement we looked at a while back. The
Yeah.
punch list of sorts that you all
Yes.
had, okay. That's it. Thank you, Wayne and Jay.
Thank you.
No questions, thank you.
Peggy?
No questions.
Okay, very good. Next, deputies report. If we have any, we've read Lieutenant Hollinger's report. If we have any questions, Peggy, I'll begin with you. Do you have any questions of the good lieutenant?
No questions. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, just one question on under the assaults, the sewage treatment facility, BB gun incident. If there's anything additional information you can share on that, I'd be interested in hearing where that's at.
Yes, we've actually identified a particular subject there, and he, in our opinion, has some mental health issues. We actually went and searched the house and found some evidence of the BB gun that he was using, and we actually got a court-ordered committal for him for an evaluation at the hospital. So that's where we are now. It's still under investigation as far as criminal charges, but we have been in touch with the owner of the home, who are the suspect's parents, and they've been helpful. So I'm hoping that we can have that resolved, either by arrest or to have him removed from that house. So,
All right. Thank you
we're
for that.
still working on it.
Yeah. Thank you for that update and for your service.
Thank you.
Yeah, Lieutenant, there was somebody recently rescued from the marsh. I know it's not a funny situation, but I could imagine a leisurely walk through the marsh was spoiled. Do you have any
Yes.
information
Yeah,
you could
that
share?
was an individual who was going through some marital problems, and he basically told us he went to the marsh to die. And fortunately, a citizen just walking the trail saw him out there and had the wherewithal to call us. And we had help from the fire department. They went out there with a Zodiac. Couldn't initially find him, so we put a drone in the air, and fortunately we found him. The gentleman was so covered in mud that it was difficult to see him in the marsh grass. But we were able to find him, and the fire department was able to take him out on the Zodiac, and we took him to the hospital for an evaluation. So that was a very fortunate situation that someone happened to see him out there, because he appeared, I'm no doctor, but he appeared he was in the beginning stages of hypothermia when we got a hold of him. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's an unusual example, possibly, of not judging a book by its cover. You read a blurb of that somewhere, but we never know what people's situations are. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Yeah, and before I get to Larry, I did. This is one of those situations where our first responders probably saved a life the other day. So I just, you never have enough time. You never have enough times where you thank our first responders. You know.
No further questions. Just thank you for your service and stay safe.
Thank you.
Nothing further. Thank you for your service.
No questions, and thank you.
Okay, very good. I didn't receive a North Beach Volunteer Fire Department report this month. I don't know if we'll get one or not, but as we know, if the council has any questions, please, funnel in through Larry. Next is the mayor's report. I want to talk just a little bit about how important volunteerism is to our town. Today marks the first anniversary of the passing of Ron Draper, longtime friend and town volunteer. We also recently, during the pandemic, lost long-time volunteers Nancy Furley and Mike Linsenberger. So as we pull out of this pandemic and try to return to some resemblance of what normal was, we need to remember that it was our dedicated volunteers who are the backbone of our town. They stayed at it during this global pandemic without a complaint and without a penny of reimbursement. Tonight is just a small, once again, example of how our volunteers are a fabric of our town. I mean, we, as part of our business, we're going to hear reports from 2 volunteer boards, 7 committees, and the North Beach Volunteer Fire Department. We will appoint and reappoint 2 volunteers to 2 different boards. Tonight, we will also take action on the comprehensive plan, which is the final product of a multi-year Herculean task that the Volunteer Planning and Zoning Board completed. So while this is a day to reflect back on Ron and Nancy and Mike, it is also one to thank and appreciate our volunteers. So having said on that, I want to conclude my report by reminding everybody that in 2 weeks, we will be recognizing the #1 volunteers in the world, all you mothers out there. So I just want to leave this report by saying Happy Mother's Day to everybody in town. Thank you very much. Next, vote on Ordinance O-22-4, an ordinance of the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach for the adoption of the Town of Chesapeake Beach Comprehensive Plan for Land Use Issues. Is there before discussion, is there a motion to approve?
Approve?
Second.
Okay, I want to begin, if there is any discussion from Peggy.
No, I have no further discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, we had a pretty thorough discussion at our work session. I don't have a whole lot to add to that. I do appreciate all the work that the Planning and Zoning Commission did put into this and all the input. I think they did a good job, and I think they captured kind of the vision of the town, and look forward to passing it. Thanks.
Very much. Councilman Morris?
Yeah, follow along behind Councilman Partiak. It is a vision statement. This is not these aren't laws that we're passing on tonight. Probably everybody in this room that's somewhat familiar with the comprehensive plan has things they don't like about it or don't prefer, things that they do like. We do want to, the mayor has underscored the 3 years that it's taken to get to this point. I think that many of us have been there mostly every step of the way. I've attended a lot of meetings. Me, myself, I've encouraged and pushed, and I've also laid back and just let the process unfold. I've attended public gatherings where there was specific outreach, where we were asking in the beginning of things and along the way what the town residents wanted. And when I say town residents, this includes business owners as well. The town had volumes of due diligence and outreach in pulling this together. I think about a year ago, I came to a conclusion that given all of the effort that's gone into the document, I want to give kudos to all of the commissioners that had their hands in this. It was a difficult process at times. I think we had some picketing out front, which was an exciting evening. But all in all, I want to come back to the fact that this is a vision statement. We've got a lot of unique situations in town, being a coastal community here. We've got a new committee that is being led by some stalwart individuals. It's a who's who of who resides along the waterfront. And they're going to be engaged in coming up with some plans regarding helping what ideas to have to help guard the town against the climate change and the sea level rise. I feel that unique situations are appropriately addressed in the appeals process. Again, it's a vision statement, and we'll all be watching closely how ordinances unfurl here to actually make some of this stuff more, solidify some more of this stuff. But it's not an end all to be all. I know that several of the business owners in town are very disappointed in some of the content of this, and I would just urge them to reel some of those feelings back in a little bit. There's opportunity for redress. Mr. Luckett had some concerns about some sinking conditions in and around his property. That's a great example that's a perfect example of where you can approach the appeals board. And you've got a unique situation there with that. And several of us feel very strongly that the town has got to afford property owners some flexibility in guarding guarding and protecting their properties as they may be affected by not just the climate change and sea level rise, but by the ground's conditions around this part of town. That being said, I just want to kind of sum up my intro comments here with something that is right out of the introduction, the comprehensive plan here, and it goes back to the commissioners and everyone that had a hand in forming this document. This document should be difficult to overturn contents in this, in my opinion. Purpose of this plan. This plan springs from our profound affection for Chesapeake Beach and our determination to take up the pressing needs of today and perfect the conditions for the future. The plan's purpose is to bring about the careful development of our community and the conservation of what we find most exceptional about it. I know that during the public outreach, it was very clear that the public pushed back on this wide open growth. And I don't want to say it's wide open now. I mean, I've been here for 25 years, and where I live was annexed, and the town has grown a lot. But the times have changed, the winds have changed. So I'm going to be in support of passing this plan the way that it's been presented, and all of us will proceed with caution in regards to how we deal and interact with individual property owners that have unique needs. I think that's maybe enough. Thank you.
I think that was enough. Thank you, sir.
3 years. Thank you, sir.
It's okay.
Once again, I'd like to express my sincere thanks and appreciation to Chair Larry Brown and Planning and Zoning Commission and Zoning Administrator Chris Jakubiak for the incredible multi-year effort they've put forward as volunteers in developing the draft comprehensive plan. Thank you. I have expressed in past meetings several concerns. I will try to summarize them quickly. It just strikes me that, one, we should not have a comprehensive plan, or let me restate that. If we have a comprehensive plan, I would find it very difficult to approve code changes or projects that contradict that plan. As was pointed out, the plan is the vision. We should adhere to that vision. Within the draft comprehensive plan, what I see, though, is that the vision statements presented in the front part of the plan are in some cases not supported, and indeed in some cases contradicted by the specific objectives laid forward later in the plan. And the examples that I've given before are statements about more affordable housing, providing more housing for seniors, statements like that, that when we get into the details of the actual plan, we find that those types of housing developments are not included in the objectives. Indeed, there are specific statements that would say we will not do that. So as I read the plan, it does not encourage mixed and commercial residential development, removes multifamily housing and townhouses from a couple of the zoning areas. There's only minimal discussion of encouraging appropriate commercial economic development in the town. And as I said, while this is a vision statement, it will be difficult to implement code changes and improvements that differ from the vision. So my concern is that it does not speak to the appropriate economic development in the town, and there are contradictions between the two. I was actually trying to work on a proposed amendment to this, and the more I got into it, the more I found that it's just so extensive throughout the document that it was very difficult to come up with a single proposed change to that document. So I just wanted, for the record, to express my concerns. I think it discourages a number of types of development, including off-street parking, which we have all agreed is a problem in our town. It does not encourage appropriate protection against flooding and sea level rise with the height limitation that's stated in there, and the fact that height limitation, it will now be measured from grade level. Therefore, not only does it not encourage the off-street parking or the protection against sea level rise, it provides absolutely no incentive for someone to do that, because it just takes away from the amount of livable space that can develop above it. So while I have these concerns, I was unable to come up with a specific change because it is fairly extensive through the document. But I just, for the record, wanted to express my concerns that I don't believe this vision statement or the comprehensive plan matches its vision with its actual objectives. Actually, before I came here tonight, I was actually thinking of making a proposal to table this ordinance, but from what I'm hearing, I think that that's probably a waste of time. So, thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go a little out of order for a very good reason, and let Valerie make her comments, and Charlie.
All right. First of all, I apologize that I was not here at the work session, but I do have a statement regarding the comprehensive plan that I'd like to read. And it goes like this, for the record. I appreciate the level of effort and diligence that went into this plan. Having listened to each planning and zoning meeting from the previous 2 years, and having read the comp plan many times, the thoroughness of their deliberations, the sheer quantity of motions voted upon with a unanimous vote count, on some issues multiple times. This was a careful process, and for the most part, the document we are voting upon reflects the good faith effort of the commission to meet the vision and desires of the residents to maintain small town charm and a very low growth rate. It is especially good in its use of flood mapping, and I fully support the introduction of zones of vulnerability regarding flooding. Smart growth is an older concept that is still in use that says populations should be concentrated in town centers. And you know what? It is okay to say that we have been successful in this pursuit of smart growth, especially between 2000 and 2010. We currently have an increasing percentage of Calvert County residents living here in the beach according to the plan. We accomplished smart growth, past tense. This means to me that it is time to take care of those that live here, to maintain the healthy current balance of housing types, and to focus on the quality of life for those who live here, and to find opportunities for green space. The plan is not perfect, although we may want to solve the housing problem in the state, in the county. That is simply not practical for such a small town with very limited space. There are things that concern me regarding increasing supply of housing. What we need to do is focus on improving the lot of those that live here An example of this is the MOU on today's agenda for helping with utility billing for those in need. That's where our focus ought to be. As for the hottest issue, the 35-foot from ground height limit, I wholeheartedly support this. We cannot turn back the hand of time for what is built, but we can ensure the future does not follow that same path. From ground, no more unclear height definitions, no more caveats. It is a time for small town in feel, look, and quality of life. If a specific problem on a specific site occurs in reference to flooding, that will be a time for the Board of Appeals and for reasonable conditions within our Section 290 of the code. This is a small town win, period.
Thank you for your comments. And lastly, Mr. Fink.
First, recognizing the effort that the planning and zoning and everyone has put into this, the public feedback. The nature of the discourse has been civil, and I respect that. I would like to suggest 2 amendments to the plan. And Mr. Mayor, I believe ideally here, I'm going to propose these amendments and then there'll be discussion on them.
Absolutely, yes.
So,
We'll go one at a time.
Okay. The 2 amendments that I propose, number 1, that we,
If you don't mind, Charlie, since you just say, I move to amend the ordinance
you want me to do one at a time.
one at a time.
So I would like to move to amend the ordinance to specify a height limit of 35 feet from habitable space with permission to build off-street parking utility space underneath at least as high as FEMA requires, but not to exceed 10 feet.
Is there a second to that amendment?
Second it.
Okay. Would you like to be the first to discuss the amendment, Charlie?
Yeah, so again, recognizing the effort that folks have put into this, I think this is one critical issue that reflects Larry's comment that there are inconsistencies in the stated goals and the recommendations. I do not think that the best path is to leave the plan as is and suggest that we adjust during zoning rules changes or through the appeals process. I feel that in something that affects property owners potentially in flood zones, that we should be more proactive than that. And I want to state one other note, which I'll repeat, I'm sure. We all love to use the term small town charm. I love small town charm. And I understand that there have been exceptions to small town charm in some of the things that have happened in the past. That being said, it's a 2-part component. Small town charm is not boarded up businesses. It's not concrete contractors as our retail on our gateway into town. It is not rundown rental houses that are not maintained. Small town charm is ongoing concerns, people walking to and fro, people having an opportunity to get coffee and an ice cream, and that's not available now. And I believe that this is one step in having our comprehensive plan a little more closely aligned with that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I'll begin council discussion with Valerie, and I'll work my way around the horn, as they say in baseball.
Sure. Just to get clarity, so this would be 35 feet above habitable space, and I'm not sure what that means. Like, I don't know what that definition is. What's habitable space?
So as I understand it, if you are, let's take an example, you're in a flood plain or you're in an area that is prone to flooding, FEMA will specify a height at which they will not insure your property. So that's whatever your, wherever you are, you get an elevation certificate. So we will not insure anything below this number of feet. So that's where I would consider habitable space to start.
Okay. According to the comprehensive plan and the mapping that occurred, it was approved by the Maryland Department of Planning. the 2.1 feet flood zone for the comprehensive plan planning. That's in the comp plan, the 2.1 feet. And so if you look at that compared to the vulnerability areas, I think the areas that we're talking about are minimal. And should not, therefore, the 35 feet above habitable space apply for the town throughout. Because that would not be applicable, for example, for the middle subdivision. If we're talking about, and I'm not sure, did yours also, is this in reference to like parking underneath a home? Is that habitable space, like allowing, I'm just asking.
Yeah, we're getting a little out of hand here. We don't need to, grill Charlie on his amendment. You are more than sufficiently commenting on the amendment.
Okay. I'm sorry, I just wanted to understand, because if we're talking about like, if this implies like parking under a house, then my argument would be that where is this going to help? Well, where do we have parking problems? We have parking problems in the campgrounds, which is across from Beach Elementary. I think 14th Street, 17th Street, down in that area near Brownies Beach. That's already virtually completely built out. And so you would have to have a complete redevelopment of a housing lot in order to make this applicable. So it's not going to help if we're talking about under the house parking in that area of town. If you're talking about it in an area like the middle subdivision, because I'm assuming we're not talking about HOA areas, because those are already built out under other specifications. So we're talking about 30% of the land area in the town that's buildable, or that this would apply to, for the most part. The middle subdivision, they just redid the streets and paving, and I walk my dog there at least 3 times a week. My husband every day of the week. And you can have parallel parking on both sides of the road in the middle subdivision and still get a fire truck down. So parking is not an issue in the middle subdivision. If we're talking about on C Street in Chesapeake Station, where it used to be, unfortunately, good or not, the parking garage is taking care of that. So the C Street parking issues that had occurred as those rod and reel patrons were parking on C Street has basically disappeared. So if we're doing this to solve a parking problem, I don't know where that parking problem would be solved, except for maybe next to Town Hall, going up this way on 260. That's why I didn't know what habitable meant, but if we're talking about parking, that would be my argument on that part. If we're talking about flooding, if you look at the 2.1 foot map, that really is not going to cover that much of an area in the grand scheme of things. And so I'm not sure in some ways what it accomplishes. In the text amendment that dealt with building height that came before us, there was a note in there that said FEMA plus or minus 2 feet. And so I'm not sure where the 10 foot comes from, but that said, it had FEMA and then a note plus or minus 2 feet. And so that would be 37 feet. So that's why I made a point in my talk, where I said, no more caveats, no more this or that. Make it so that it's understandable by a person who reads our planning and zoning without a bunch of caveats. And if they need to go to a Board of Appeals because of a provable flooding problem and they wish to rebuild, then that can be handled at that time. So that would be my point of view on this, is that not fully understanding what habitable space is. I think I've covered the flooding part, and I think I've covered the parking spot part. If I missed any parts, I apologize, and I hope somebody else catches it. So I will not be supporting this amendment.
Thank you. And Larry?
I don't believe the proposed amendment addresses all of my concerns, but it's better than the current document, so I will support it. I think it's important that we recognize, we recently created a climate change advisory group, a coastal resiliency group. We need to do things to protect our town against sea level rise, and starting to measure elevations from grade level and not taking that into account, I think is not consistent with those concerns. So I will support the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. And Councilman Morris?
I'm suspecting that Councilman Fink's concerns fit precisely into my narrative that the appeals process, if not planning and zoning at the time, is an appropriate place for those sorts of concerns with respect to sea level rise and climate change. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Councilman?
So, yeah, I think I said it earlier. I understand, I think, where the concern is, but I must agree. I think Councilwoman Bodine summed it up pretty well in terms of where this would apply. And I still think this is, kind of a vision statement for the town. And I want to remain that way. And I agree with that vision. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. And lastly, Peggy.
My concern about the proposed amendment is that it will be too hard to figure out, a little bit along what Councilwoman Bodine was saying, that if you can't figure out what that means, then how are you going to enforce it and how are you going to build toward or plan for it? I think I would rather, if there's a flooding issue, go to this process to say, here's where we need to do something differently. So I would not support it.
Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, we're going to vote, okay? By show of hand. All those in favor of the amendment, please raise your hand. All those opposed? And the nays have it. The amendment fails. Did you have another amendment, Charlie?
I do. Thank you. My second amendment is that we agree that retail under residential should be permitted in both.
If I could stop you there, Councilman, we need to be formal about this, okay? You're moving to amend. Tell us what you want to amend and what you want to amend it with.
I would like to move to amend the ordinance.
Which part?
I'm sorry, what I'm missing, I
Need to
didn't
be
specify a part last
Yeah,
time.
we need to be specific. What do you wish to amend? Where are you? What page? What section? What?
I would have to go back and look at the comprehensive plan to remember exactly what page this is cited on.
I have a pretty good idea how the amendment was going to end up anyhow. Possibly. It's up to you. Do you want us to call a timeout and you go back and look at that so you can solidify your amendment, or do you want to just let it go? It's your call.
I think I'll just let it go.
Okay,
I mean, I would like to proceed for discussion, but I will not be able to cite the exact section of the comprehensive
We're
plan.
going to move on. It's
Okay.
your call. We can call
May
a timeout.
I ask why that wasn't required on my first amendment?
Well, it was because you mentioned the 35 feet. Here you're making a broad statement. I am more than willing to take a timeout and have you do
Yeah,
what
then
you
let's do
wanna
that.
do.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we need a biological break anyhow. So let's do that, and let's come back in about 5 minutes.
Not that I agree with it, but you want to-
We have it, Peggy, but thank you.
Did you start the recording? Okay, everybody have their mic on, please.
Mayor, can I reference page numbers on the draft plan?
Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah, I mean, it's you got the best help that money could buy right next to you, so you're doing good. Okay, so we have an amendment from Councilman Fink, so I'll give you the floor, sir.
And thank you for letting us get a little better organized.
Mhm.
So I would like to move to amend the comprehensive plan on page 66 under neighborhood commercial. I would like to remove the last sentence that starts with the plan recommends that the ... And I would like to add the same sentence that appears under town commercial that reads, new residential uses would be allowed as residences above street level commercial, and existing residential uses would remain as permitted uses.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, once again, I'll begin discussion, unless you would prefer Peggy. That's fine. Okay. Councilwoman Bodine?
Yes, on this amendment, when Charlie first mentioned it about 3 or 4 days ago to me, or I listened to the work session and I texted him. I thought it was going to be for the neighborhood commercial and the town commercial. And I had a concern with neighborhood commercial because it's near Beach Elementary School.
Mhm.
And it seems like after looking at how it's written in the plan that we're going to be voting on, that it's already allowed, specifically residential over commercial in the town commercial center. It takes care of, I like that idea over on 260 as a way to generate foot traffic.
Mhm.
And it's already in the plan. And my specific concern with it being on 261 down near Beach is just at the elementary school. And that area right there. And so I'm not sure we want that sort of foot traffic that close to the school with commercial ventures coming in that way with residential on top. So I have a trepidation about that one.
Okay, very good.
No additional comments.
Okay, sir?
Well, I know we discussed this a little bit. Having the mixed use, the business on the ground floor, residence over above. I know that having empty businesses is not a good thing. I'm definitely in favor of having flexibility for the property owners. I'm not sure if I share the same concerns that Councilwoman Bodine has regarding foot traffic necessarily around the elementary school. I think there's a little bit more to unpack there in my mind. Having a mixed use as the ground floor, I think makes sense on one hand, because it gives the property owner the flexibility. If they can't get a business in there, or they don't want to put a business in there, they can make it a residence. Somebody looking for business opportunities in town would know that there's property there that they can acquire, that they can operate business on the ground floor. And I think I'm going to split a little bit from what I said before. I think I'm going to support this amendment.
Councilman?
No additional discussion. Thank you.
Okay. And lastly, Peggy, do you have a comment?
Yes. I love the idea of houses above businesses and having been mixed use. I can tell you, my grandmother, I grew up with my grandmother in a perfect small town where almost every business had a family living above it, and it was terrific. So I'm totally in support of that. For people who can't really get around, it could be the business is useful to them.
Okay, thank you. We have an amendment. We have a second. All in favor, raise your hand. But all in favor, raise your hand. We have all opposed, raise your hand, I guess there. Okay, so the amendment passes by a vote of 4-2. Okay, thank you, council. Thank you, everybody. That was pretty cool. Now we have to vote on the amended ordinance. Okay, we have a motion to approve we have an amended ordinance. So now it's how we just vote on the amended ordinance. We have an amended ordinance in front of us. Okay. All in favor? Raise your hand. Say aye.
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 Okay. 5 in favor, 1 opposed. The comprehensive plan passes by a 5-1 vote. Thank you, council. Great work. Great work, everybody. Yeah. Okay. Next, introduce ordinance. Once again, in fact, I guess I'll take a time out since I'm mayor. Kathleen, on behalf of your group, give them our thanks. We really, and yes, and in my, and in all my years up here and in all the different various votes and stuff that I've seen, go along, this was not only handled professionally by this group here, and I applaud this group. You guys did great work, and you made out pretty good, I'd say. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope your board members concur with my sentiments. Thank you. Okay. Introduce ordinance O-22-5, an ordinance of the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach adopting the annual budget for the Water Park Fund of Chesapeake Beach for fiscal year July 1 of 22 to June 30 of 23. I'm going to set the public hearing for May the 19th at 6:46 p.m. And all the remaining public hearings that I set are going to be for May the 19th, just a different time after that. So next, introduce ordinance O-22-6, an ordinance of the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach adopting the annual budget for the utility fund of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1 of 22 to June 30 of 23, and setting rates, charges, and fees related to water and sewer service by the town. The public hearing will be at 6:48 p.m. May 19th. Introduce ordinance O-22-7, an ordinance to the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach, Maryland, amending the annual budget for the general fund of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1, 20 to June 30 of 21 to reconcile expenses and income and ratify over expenditures. That will be at 6:50 p.m. on May the 19th. We got a busy month next month, guys. Introduce ordinance -0-22-8, an ordinance to the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach, amending the annual budget for the Water Reclamation Treatment Plant Fund of the Town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1 of 20 to June 30 of 21 to reconcile expenses and income and ratify over expenditures. Set the public hearing for 6:52 on May the 19th. Introduce ordinance O-22-9, an ordinance to the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach, amending the annual budget for the utility fund of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1 of 20 to June 30 of 21 to reconcile expenses and ratify over expenditures. Public hearing, 6:54 p.m. on May the 19th. Next, ordinance O-22-10, an ordinance to the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach, amending the annual budget for the Water Park Fund of the Town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1 of 20 to June 30 of 21 to reconcile expenses and income and ratify over expenditures. At the public hearing for 6:56 p.m. on May the 19th. And lastly, introduce ordinance O-22-11, an ordinance of the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach, Maryland, amending the adopted general fund budget of the Town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1 of 21 to June 30 of 22 to add funds in the amount of $25,000 in general fund, hotel tax, and general government salaries and wages. We'll set the public hearing for 6:58 p.m. on May the 19th. Bear with me here for 1 second, guys. And that's it there.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask
I need
a
to find a
question?
blue pen.
I just want to get a point of or information or something. Last year, or maybe the year before, we had to do something with the constant yield rate, and we had to then come back and do a tax decrease. So, do we need to do anything with constant yield rate?
No.
It's just a question.
No, the answer is no, but thank you. Next, Planning and Zoning Commission. Unfortunately, Larry Brown was forced to go out of town for a family emergency. So we wish Larry all the best for him and his family. Board of Appeals, no hearing held. C-Box, I don't know if John Bacon's on the call. We certainly love John Bacon. Climate Change Advisory Group, Larry?
The next meeting of the Coastal Resiliency Steering Group is scheduled for Wednesday, April 27th at 5:30. I'll be reporting on that at our next meeting. I'm going to be working with Holly to schedule the next meeting of the Flooding and Sea Level Rise Work Group so we can get going on that. And I will turn it over to Co-Chair Keith.
Thank you. Yeah, just one quick item. So when we had started the advisory group, we had begun talking about doing a carbon audit for the town to get a better idea of where we are, where we can improve. And so we had some initial conversations, and I think there is some material already in existence, and we just wanted to maybe start that up again and pursue that a little harder again. So we can, wonderful. All right,
Thank you, sir.
thanks.
EDC, Larry? I just like saying EDC. Roll.
Been working with Holly and town staff to prepare an online map showing local businesses and restaurants. We hope to roll that out soon. I'll be attending the annual meeting of the Maryland Economic Development Association in Cambridge starting this Sunday. Next meeting of the Calvert County Economic Development Advisory Commissions is scheduled for Wednesday, April 27th. A couple other updates. The Calvert County Business Appreciation Week is first week in May, so please come out and support our local businesses. And finally, there will be a meeting of a travel writers conference. We'll meet here in Chesapeake Beach on Friday, April 5th, and I'll be joining in those meetings. Co-Chair Mr. Morris, anything to add?
That'd be May 5th.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Larry. The beginning of the season, me and Larry had a discussion. Larry presses me, but about what plan and vision what kind of ideas could EDC have this year. One thing that came to my mind on the heels of the pandemic, and this kind of dovetails into the health and wellness fair that we have coming up. Healthy patrons make for healthier businesses make for healthier home lives. I think health in itself is probably good economic development. I would encourage all of our local businesses to continue to promote sensible practices, making hand sanitizer easily available. These little things like this can really change the trajectory of people getting sick in businesses, just from a common cold and flu, not even talking about COVID. Trying to help our employees be healthier helps the patrons be healthier and helps the home life be healthier. So one of the things I'm thinking about for economic development this year is everybody being healthier and striving, and that just lends itself to just a little stronger economic development, I think, if that makes any sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
That's it, though.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Larry.
Thank you, gentlemen. Green Team, Councilwoman Bodine.
Absolutely. First of all, I'd like to say that our next Green Team meeting will be April 28th. It'll be in the pavilions, at 6:30 unless the weather turns ugly. I'd like to reiterate an invitation. As Pat, our mayor, mentioned, volunteering is so very important, and we lost a dear friend in Nancy. And we will, on April 29th, on Friday, be holding a dedication of the town buffer garden in her honor. It's actually the Garden Club of Chesapeake Beach that is doing this dedication. So I'd like to invite everyone. The following day, April 30th, April 29th, April 30th is our spring cleanup, the town. We'll be meeting at the pavilions at 9 a.m. It's also in collaboration with our Arbor Day activities and celebrations. As you know, we just had a proclamation read regarding Arbor Day. And so that's one of the steps that we need to take towards becoming a Tree City USA. And finally, we have the Health and Wellness Fair, of which the Green Team will be participating. And that, once again, is May 14th. So we look forward to having you all join us.
Thank you very much. Kellum's Revitalization, KRC. Now, you like Kellum's better?
Kellum's has a nice sound to it.
It does. Okay, sir.
Well, I don't really have an update. I know we're looking forward to seeing what Wayne's been working on. I know that we had the extravaganza, and I do want to compliment town staff on some of the reorganization that's happened a little bit, transitioning. I have some other comments I'm going to reserve for the lightning round for that part.
Thank you, sir. Twin Beach Opioid Abuse Awareness, Keith.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I apologize.
Back
I
up.
meant to ask Charlie. I always have your name underlined. And
Right.
do you have anything you wanted to add to the Kellum's,
I have
please?
nothing to add, but I am excited about the work that the town engineer now has started to get the water and sort of all that straightened out, and the idea that it's going to be open on weekends and we're going to have clean restrooms.
Thank you. Thank you, too. Keith.
Yeah, thank you. So for the Twin Beach Opioid Abuse Awareness Coalition, we have not had a meeting since our last town council meeting. However, we've had subcommittees working on different things. One of those is the Twin Beaches Health and Wellness Fair, which was already talked about somewhat. And again, I just as a little bit of history, this was started in 2020 by our committee here. The first one was held at the North Beach Volunteer Fire Department. One of the reasons that we did that was try to reduce the stigma surrounding opioid abuse and substance abuse in general by pulling it into a more common forum where people go to address all of their health issues. And this is just one more of those. So, we did not have one last year due to COVID-19. This year, this one is bigger and better. Thank you very much to Carla and Holly for all the work that you two have done on this. Been amazing. I think it's going to be an amazing event. It is on May 14th, 10 a.m. to 2 a.m., 2 p.m., excuse me. And there will be a 5K there, and we have lots and lots of collaborators, lots of things going on. There'll be mental and physical health screenings, free health, other free health screenings. Mobile crisis unit will be there. Access to local walking paths. There'll be information on water safety, gun safety, boat safety, healthy eating information, and information about cooking classes and resources that'll be available, and a lot more. So I hope you can all make it. Again, we really appreciate all the efforts that's gone into it by our partners, and in making this happen. And we will have resource providers there who are from the Calvert County Health Department and from the Twin Beach Opioid Abuse Awareness Committee, from CASA. All of those folks will be there as well too, providing information on substance abuse issues and resources. So I hope y'all can make it, and I'm really glad the town has embraced this event and is making it their own, and that it's no longer just something our committee is doing, but it's really a town event, and all the folks that are doing it. So that is great. The other thing that I wanted to just mention is that we're also working on the International Overdose Awareness Day event. Started out with Color of the Beaches Purple, that expanded into the county. And we're planning on doing something similar to that this year, but also kicking off an art competition to raise overdose awareness in the area. Sandy Mattingly has been kind of spearheading it for our committee, and she's already gotten commitments from the Calvert Arts Council, from North Beach, and from Chesapeake Beach, and we're going to be submitting a more formal proposal to make that happen going forward. So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you, Keith. Mr. Fink, Walkability Community Advisory Group.
Thank you. We did not have a meeting in April of our full committee. We continue to be in a bit of a waiting pattern on a whole bunch of projects. I've been communicating with Holly and then forwarding information back out. Not the best model at the moment, but I don't have a better way to get some of these things moving forward. And we got good information tonight that we continue to get some real tangible things going. We will be meeting in May, date TBD, to discuss the three projects that we talked about tonight, and beginning to get public input on those, and also the signage, which we should have finalized a handful of good drafts to present to the public. So I think we can lump all that together. So there are things happening. We're just not quite as proactive in being able to meet and check things off a list, which makes me happy. Checking things off a list. So we'll just have to keep muddling through as we go. Peggy, anything to add?
No, I have nothing to add. Thanks, Charlie.
Okay. Thanks to both y'all. Okay. No unfinished business. New business. Town Council to consider the appointment of Farhad Safed to the Ethics Commission. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the ayes have it. Town Council to consider the reappointment of Jody Hoon Starr to the Board of Appeals.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Town Council to consider awarding a contract to Modulus LLC for general cleaning services for a term of 3 years per the schedule of fees provided in the March 31st proposal for services. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second with comment.
Of course. Peggy, do you have any comments on this?
No, I do not.
Okay.
No comments.
Morris?
Yeah, I just I know the town hall staff works really hard with this stuff, and they've got multiple spinning plates with bidding parts, and we don't always get the bid coverage that we do. You'd like to see competition in it, because not only does it help with the cost of things and understanding disparities in costs, but we're always learning new things too. When we're engaging bidders. We learn things and we kind of can fine tune things a little bit here. I was disappointed in the bid coverage, particularly seeing the disparity in the bid numbers, but I am in support of what Town Hall is recommending. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's probably enough. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Just a question, and Holly, you touched on this earlier, on the cleaning of the Kellum's restrooms. Will that be included in here
Yes,
with no change in price?
that's correct. They will use the pricing that they provided for cleaning the water park bathrooms for the Kellum's complex.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. No further questions.
Very good.
Yeah, so just to make sure I understand that, so it will be more than the bottom line number, and that additional fee will be equal to the amount from one line item added to another.
Right. So they've provided us a list of fees, so a schedule of fees. So we don't necessarily have to take all of the services. So there's not a lump sum amount we're asking you to approve. And Todd, you can tell us if you're okay with that. But basically, you're approving a schedule of fees through the bid, and we can a la carte pick what meets our needs.
Perfect. Thank you.
Councilwoman.
No questions.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any ayes have it. Next, Town Council to consider authorizing the mayor to execute an MOU with the Maryland Department of Human Services to assist in applying utility payments to qualified user accounts as approved by the Maryland Department of Health Services. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second, I'll begin discussion with Councilwoman Bodine.
Sure. I did listen to the work session, and so I heard the discussion regarding this MOU. And my understanding is that it's not really a burden for town staff and for the billing department and for the collection. There seems to be no real risk from our perspective. My understanding is that it's the applicant themselves who has applied through the state for this program, not directly through the town. And earlier in my statement regarding the comprehensive plan, when I mentioned about bettering the quality of the life for those that live here, this is the sort of program that I was referencing, and I referenced in that statement. So I'm fully supportive of this, and I think it's a good way to help those that live here afford it, if you will.
Very
So
well.
I like the idea.
Yes, indeed. Sir.
Yeah, it's a slam dunk, and nice work. Thank you.
My comments and questions had been addressed in the work session, so I'm good. Thank you.
Very good. Councilman.
Yes, sir. This is a good program. It fits the town's, I don't want to say necessarily vision, but coming out of the comprehensive plan, providing subsidized housing in town. I'm definitely, it's a good idea. I just want to kind of underscore, tie this in a little bit to the comprehensive plan, and that if the town intends to have more subsidized housing in town, we're really going to need to ensure that we have as many support programs like this in place, and support programming that's in reach of those particular residents. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir.
Seems like a great program. Thanks.
And Peggy. Any comments, Peggy?
No, everything everything was discussed in the work session.
Thank you, Peggy. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any ayes have it. At this time, is there any public comment? Hearing none, we'll go to the council lightning round. Peggy, I'll let you off the hook. You can go first.
Well, I just like to say that thank you, Holly, for setting up the remote link today. And y'all be happy to know that my quarantine ends Saturday, so I'll see you next month in person again. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Peggy.
Well, thank you. It's been a good meeting. It's been a pleasure working with you all, and I know it's a struggle sometimes, you know, with some of the things that come before us, but it's just a pleasure, I should say. I made it sound like I'm leaving, but I'm not. But I'm not. But
Am I
it's
gonna
a
start
pleasure.
crying again?
It's a pleasure, you know, working through these issues with you all. So I wish you a great evening and a great weekend to come. It sounds like the weather's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I just want wanted to follow back in. I wanted to underscore, and anybody listening to the tape, everybody in the room, please spread the word that the town has a new events Facebook page. And I think that's a great idea. That's good economic development. There's a lot of things that kind of tie into that. The town events are one of the great things about our town. I probably told the story about the small Easter events I attended early on, being here in town, and small and large events alike. And we're diversifying too in the programming that we're providing. I think that's outstanding. And these sorts of things add so much to the fabric of the town. I'm certainly in favor of restricting some of them to small town and town residents, but we know other things like maybe Stars and Stripes and these other larger things, and health and wellness. We're inviting people into town, and we want to welcome them in. I wanted to applaud again Town Hall and staff for some of the maneuvering that's been taking place over the couple years to kind of figure out some of this. And I certainly appreciate it all, and I'm excited about it. So thank you.
Really nothing more to add other than have a good night, everyone, and thank you.
We've been here a long time. I'll keep this brief. Civility, it's a good word. So comprehensive plan. I recognize the effort that went into this plan. As I said, no one will get everything they want. That's the nature of civil discourse and compromise. So I'm very pleased to be part of this process. Harassment of our town staff. Some citizens' behavior that I've experienced firsthand, often in the absence of even really understanding what the motivation or the genesis is of this. The New York City subway attack, not that that's relevant to Chesapeake Beach, but it's relevant to civility. So I just encourage everyone to take a breath, take a step back, talk to your neighbors, talk to your fellow council people, and I think we'll all be a lot better off.
Amen.
Lastly, end hunger bike ride. Just hope it doesn't snow.
You'll be there either way. And lastly, Councilwoman.
I actually had the same thing that Charlie did, which was the End Hunger bike ride will be this Saturday. And so as you're out and about, please be careful of the bicyclists. And it's a great event if you want to support it. Look for Charlie. He's going to be biking. And just remember, this is an organization where 94 cents on every dollar, it was done again last year, goes to actual programming for food. That means 6 cents goes to overhead, which is an unheard of rate. And so it's an organization that we can be proud of. So watch out for the bicyclists and Charlie. Next, as I was listening to the other folks' lightning rounds, it got me thinking that we've had a lot of COVID separation over the past year and a half, 2 years. And these town events are a real opportunity to come together again and be a small town. So I encourage you to join in these town events. And then earlier in the meeting, I had a thought and I wrote it down. And it's this: taking over the streets in newly developed subdivisions is a big deal. It's not a small deal. As we learned, like in Richfield Station over the years, this is important stuff. It's not fun, and it's not all cute, and it's not all butterflies and rainbows. So I had this thought that maybe when we get closer to the heritage actually, quote unquote, coming online, where we as a town council have to take action, it might be in our best interest as a town council to request like a field trip. Heritage walk through the council prior to vote on transfer to the town, so that we can get a visual as to what we are actually approving when the time comes. I think we can pop it up on the screen on Google Maps or the Calvert County GIS, but I think to actually walk the site to see when we talk about right-of-ways, we talk about the streets that may be the town's responsibility in the future and will be. When we talk about where the infrastructure is, I just think just a field trip, plus it'll be fun and good fellowship to be there together with our fellow town council members. So it's like a heritage field trip. closest to when the time comes and when they're done. I just think it'd be a worthwhile venture to get that visual. Other than that, that's all I have, and I wish you a very good evening. Move to adjourn.
For a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I thank you very much, and please know that the town staff's been here a while. They want to close up, so let's get on out here as efficiently as we can.
I didn't even touch it.
I know. My first time ever. I think that joy.